This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports. We're delighted to be joined by the very first time by the pretty boy Declan Geraghty. How are you, mate?
All good, mate. I don't know about the pretty boy anymore, but yeah, all good. Thanks very much for having me on.
I know obviously where the pretty boy things and stuff come from, and I know you sort of mentioned in the past of sort of trying to get away from the sort of pretty boy tag, but I guess some things in life are always meant to stick with you, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it was never really pretty. Everyone always thinks it was pretty boy to me looks. It wasn't really from that. It was always down to living like in a kind of rough area, and like everyone would like say if someone stood in your runners, I'd go mad at someone for standing in my runners and go up and clean them. The boys used to take the piss out of me, call me pretty boy, yeah, little pretty boy, as in mocking me. But I just kind of turned over as in the boxing name, and everyone always presumed it was me just being fine and down to me looks, but it was never actually really about that.
There's an added bonus as well, I guess. And obviously, if you're a good looking guy in the boxing world.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it whatever comes my way.
I always laugh. Obviously, Kieran McGaver, obviously you do boxing bunts with. I always laugh because every year he always shares the dating program you're on, and it must be
Yeah,
coming round to must be nearly coming round to another anniversary of that, is it?
I I'm not January, February. Yeah, it actually is. It's coming in February. Yeah, it's in February. It was the anniversary of that. Yeah, Kieran likes to take the piss out of me. You know what I mean?
He does. I,
I
I
don't
guess
even.
the banter's
I don't
always
even
good.
think of it. Yeah, I never even mentioned that to him. He just pulled that out of nowhere and just edited it and just took the piss out of me. Now I've done a few things to take the piss out of him as well, but he just seems to have that leverage over me with that one.
That's sort of something that you regret, sort of going backwards. I guess in life you can sort of you never really can have sometimes regrets, but whenever you're on a program like that, I guess it's a bit of a laugh and a joke, really more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't regret anything. At the time, it was funny. Even it was a funny thing to do because it was more of a situation was with an ex partner, and we weren't getting back together. And then a friend of mine just kind of went about it and fucking employed me without me even knowing about it. And then I just came to him. It was just gone. It was just funny. It was like a flash in the pan. It was just in and out as fast as I was just there. Like a lot of people went out and all that. I didn't really go out. I was just getting ready for. Actually, it was a few days just before the seniors came about. So it was just literally just got in, stayed there for an hour or 2 hours max, and just got in and out, and that was the end of it really. But no regrets of it. I look back now, even like as we were talking about off camera about like Fighter 365, he documents a lot of my stuff, and it's more just to look back when years are over and they say like you can look back, like even looking back on when I look on like, oh man, I look like a child there. But it's refreshing to look and say that was me back then, you know what I mean, and then me now, and then just keep going on. So like I said, with what me and JC, Fighter 365 are just documenting all my life and just to have clips, because not even like, even if it's on my own YouTube channel and I put it on private, it's just to look back in years to come and say this is what it was and this is how we looked and this was the fun we had.
I'm going to obviously tag, obviously, when I put the interview up, I'm going to tag, obviously, the Fighter 365 documentary you done. I find it refreshing, Deco, as I sort of said to you off camera, it's not too often sometimes men can be real and on real life situations. A lot of things can be fake in life, people live the Instagram sort of lifestyle and sort of try to pretend they're famous when they're not. You've come out with some very honest and honest truths, I guess, in life and what death can obviously do to people. And, you know, it's refreshing. I'm glad they obviously see you're still here and obviously we're still trucking on as we do in life, but you still have your daily struggles, I guess, with everything and particularly with losing a brother. It's
Yeah,
something that you can never get over.
yeah, definitely. First of all, you're saying about like Instagram, I like Instagram's fake, and to me is like people when people talk about like for example like a few boxers, a few athletes have blue ticks, and people think that's yeah, someone. I don't think anyone personally in Ireland is anyone. But the only to me, if it was to say anyone's a superstar or celebrities, there's only a small handful outside of sport, and the ones inside sport are only McGregor and Katie. Everyone else is just normal people. You know what I mean? That's one thing I just cleared up there with that one, and then for the yeah, I've gone through hard times. Like even 2022 was a very, very difficult. Last year was a very, very difficult and hard year, mentally and physically for myself. Went through a really bad breakup, like a really, really bad breakup, and it was a really hard time. That year and the year 2013 when my brother passed away, we were talking about it there off camera. It's just like you go through a lot of hard times, and there's times where you say to yourself, "What is the point?" Like it's more like it's a catch because I'm saying numbness. You feel numb, but you also feel nothing as well. And so you're kind of contradicting yourself, but that's the way it is. Like I just like sometimes you're just like, do I really want to be here? Do I want to do? And then you have to realize there's always light at the end of the tunnel, you know, man. Like during camp, even camp, like I was only talking to my friend Jay Bourne, like you have like some days that you feel flat and some days you feel you're further than all shot you are. And that's the way life is. Some days you just don't want it's like sometimes it can go on, it can't even be days, sometimes it can be weeks, sometimes it can be months, and sometimes like we went through a whole year last year of just fucking hardship, you know what I mean? One solid hard year of it. Really, really difficult year. And I was just like, at some stage, it's like anything else. You're persistent. It has to turn at some stage. Like we all get highs, but from them highs, even when I win big fights, I never get ahead of myself because I know no matter what, that high is gonna come to a low at some stage. And when I'm down them low situations, you're like you're plugging away, and sometimes you're saying, "What is the point?" Even in sports or anything you're doing like that, what's the point? At some point, it has to twist around, and that's the way life is. It's like it is a roller coaster, you know what I mean?
We go through so much hardship sometimes that we don't admit to them, and when we do have the good times, everybody's happy to sing off from the top of the roof. I won the lottery, I won this, but they don't mention everything else. Is your sort of release from that then? Boxing's pretty much played most of your life. From about the age of 2 or 3. Do you find boxing as your release? So now that you're obviously back and you've had 3 fights sort of towards the end of 22, and obviously you've now the big fight with Dylan Moran. Do you find that's your release that gets you back in normality?
Yeah, like it puts me in a bubble. It puts me in a bubble of like now. For me, this was a 10-week camp, even though I've been training a few weeks. And I remember like even Dylan said he's training from this since he's 4 years of age. I'm training since this I came out in nappies, but it's not about of like you have a level of fitness all the way through. It's just that when you have certain camps, you're in camp where you're trying to peak to a certain date and to come down from the peak. But it's like I said, it's when you have something to train for. Like even though them 3 fights weren't hard fights, and I'm kind of trained, but was hot 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I was like, it didn't give me any motivation, but it kept me from going out partying. I was single. I was single that year. Usually everyone when you're kind of single, you kind of go out partying, you know what I mean? And like, it kind of kept me in a little bit. And then when it disappeared, we were meant to fight Rohan date beforehand, so we knew this was coming up. So it just kind of, I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and then all of a sudden I knew they were out, and the Rohan day fight was coming. I was 2 feet in, and it just kept me in that bubble. And I'm enjoying being the bubble. Like I have 7 more weeks. Like people would text me even tonight. With like friends were like, "Do you want to come out?" Like obviously you're not drinking, but you want to come out. I was like, "Nah." Like I want to sit in. You know what I mean? I want to sit in and just watch the box and chill out. And it's a nice style of just even though like it can be tedious and boring sitting in sometimes, especially by yourself. It's just like there's an end goal to it. You know, when there's an end finish line at some point here, and that's on the 8th of April. And then after that, we'll just see whatever's after that.
You sort of mentioned in the documentary, obviously, the one last roll of the dice. I was probably saying to you off camera as well. Obviously, COVID probably was a big factor in not getting fights and having that purpose and having that meaning. To go about in daily life. I guess and I know that probably you and Dylan are very good mates and everything else. So there's going to be no need for any smack talk. The fight will sell itself. But is this sort of like I sort of said like a rebirth of Declan Geraghty? Obviously, he boxed for the Irish title in 2017 against James Tennyson. It's sort of come around full circle for you again, as if it's meant to be. Do you sort of get where I come from with that?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but now, like, I believe, like, I know where you're coming from with that, but like, I wouldn't say rebirth because, like, I'm at like a stage where I'm like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, I just enjoy being in this bubble. I enjoy the hard fights. I know what I bring to the table with skill wise. I'm just adding on to it with the extra bit of weight and strength and power now. So I'm like yeah, as I said, there's no trash talk with me and him. He's too nice a fella. I'm a respectful fella. If I don't actually like someone, I will let them know I don't like them. But Dylan's a lovely fella, so I can't actually be a prick to someone who doesn't deserve to be a prick to. So there's no talk needs to be built up to it. Do I believe? Do I believe like it's like a destiny to win? And no, not really. I believe that I should have won a long time ago. I believe I should have been possibly a world champion with the skill set I had, but things just didn't happen. Do I believe on the 8th I will win? Yeah, I believe on the 8th I will win because I'm putting the work in. and I'm putting the time and the dedication in, and I just believe I'm a better all round athlete than him.
I sort of look back in your career, and I think I said it to Dylan the other day in the interview as well. You're probably one of the most established, obviously, highly decorated amateurs we sort of had in the sport. You know, you had talent to burn, and for whatever reason, it just obviously hasn't worked out for you in professional boxing. You know, so if I was to say anybody deserved something out of the sport of boxing, obviously you becoming an Irish champion, I'm sure it would mean probably as much as winning a world title to you.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, because a lot of people do say that they deserve to win an Irish title, especially what you have to do. And like, even the loss I had, like, no one ever not picked me to lose. You know what I mean? Everyone had me as a favorite, and everyone expected me to win because of, as you said, the skill set I had. But no, it's like winning an Irish title. I won't say it's gonna be winning a world. It's like winning a world title for me. Like, it's nice to have, but if it was never fighting, I never got the world, never fought for the Irish title. It is what it is. I have to accept for what it was, because like at one stage I dwelled on so much of like, this should have been me. Like, I had the opportunity to do this, and things went wrong. Like, I could tell you so much shit went wrong with so many camps. Like, but I just got on with it. Like, it's no point of dwelling and crying about it. Like, it is what it is. Like, I should have moved up weight a long time ago, an awful long time ago. Like, people never realized the struggle I did to make the weight. Like, I'm near enough 5'11", making 58.9 kilos. I have a wide frame as it is, you know what I mean? So it was just, it is what it is. Like, like, I can't cry about it. Winning an Irish title would be great. It would be great, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm really happy to be on a show that has a buzz about it again. That's what mainly what it is. Like, I went away and fought them 3 fights, and like, it's been nice to get a little tick off fights, but they're only small hall shows they won. You know, like, there's no, you're not fighting another domestic Irish fighter or someone at a big English level to have some sort of the media coverage what I'm getting now at the moment. You know what I mean?
These are the ones that sort of get you up, and you know, and I know obviously he's signed with Ian Cochran obviously last year as well, and he's got these 3 fights back to back. I guess sometimes obviously having someone like Ian's stables grew amazingly obviously over the last 12 to 18 months. Obviously having someone that's probably new into the pro game and sort of helping there, is that sort of keep a bit of the burden off you and trying to plan to get fights yourself?
Ian's grafting like a motherfucker, and that's what's great about it. You know what I mean? Ian's getting like I've told Ian, look, I want to get out 2 fights here. That's what was the plan before I get into a 50-50 fight, and then I just came with 3 fights. And he just rings me up and says, when do you want to get out? And I tell him, look, I want to get out next month and the month after, and I just leave it with him, and it's no stress on my behalf. And Ian's doing all the work. The fight got proposed to me about Dylan Moore, and I just said, look, Ian's my manager, get on the Dylan, I'll get on the Rowan, sorry, before you got posed me about Rowan Day, and I turned around and thought, it was said it to me, he goes, like, I was getting on to Ian, and Ian just boxed it all off, and I just didn't have to deal with anything like that.
It's refreshing, I guess. Obviously, Ian's just a big kid, pretty much, really. You know, like I speak to him nearly on a daily basis, and he can't keep a secret. You know, and probably anybody will probably know he can't keep a secret. So you obviously know there's fight news out there for other people that's not even public. But I think Ian, just the child in him, is the youngness and eagerness, obviously, in the boxing game is probably sometimes needed. Um, but obviously, he's a good man to have in your corner, and you know. I know he'll keep asking me my daily opinion on what I think of fights and everything else, but
Yeah.
I guess it's something you needed probably at this stage of your career to sort of have someone that's eager.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, like, to have someone who just has the love of it. You know what I mean? And he's talking to me regularly about it. You know what I mean? And he just, like, rings me and asks me how sparring gone before and after sparring, and you're going down to spar such and such. Yeah, let me know. And then he just genuinely wants to know how camp is going, and it's good that he has that investment into you.
Obviously, 7 weeks today. You know, obviously you fight Dylan. Does it make it harder? Obviously, whenever you can't trash talk, because obviously we've seen you trash talk obviously in the past. Does that make it harder to fight someone? Obviously, knowing that you both get on very well. Does it make it harder to fight someone then, or how do you flick that switch?
Because listen, the job to me, man. I'm doing it since I'm a kid. I get in the ring with people who are my best friends, and I punch the head off them. I don't feel sorry for them, because at the end of the day, it's a game of chess. Either you're gonna hit me, else I'm gonna hit you. So we did an interview a few days ago, and he said, like, he wanted to not like me, but he finds it hard because he likes me in general. I was like, I don't need to not like you, but I'm still gonna punch the head off you. That's the plan, you know what I mean? So I don't. It doesn't bother me if I like someone or not like them. It's at the end of the day, you're in front of me. I plan on picking you to pieces.
It's a busy period, obviously, in Irish boxing, obviously, particularly in the south. It's been a long time since obviously been able to box in the south with everything that's going on in the world. Obviously, there's Jason Quigley out the week before. There's another show to be announced next week. It's 2 weeks after, and then Katie's homecoming, obviously in Dublin in May. Is it refreshing for you to obviously, I guess, you don't have to do the big traveling away somewhere, that it's boxing pretty much back on your doorstep? Is it
Yeah,
nearly make you
it's
feel
not.
alive again?
It's nice to actually. Like I went to what show? I went to the last show in the stadium, and it was actually nice to actually go and sit and watch boxing instead of having to travel away. You know what I mean? And like I'll be up supporting Jason Quigley, a good friend of mine. I'll be up supporting his fight. If I'm on the Katie Taylor show, I'm not on the Katie Taylor show. I still probably go to sport as well. It's just nice to see a bit of a buzz about it because of it's been so much MMA for a long time. It's good to see fights starting to take back off. Hopefully now, I know I'm coming towards the end of my career, but hopefully the ball rolls for the next generation and we start seeing a few big fights back in the country.
It's a strange one, obviously went through that period of Carl Frampton, obviously being world champion, Ryan Burnett being world champion, TJ Dehaney, and then we've sort of had 4 years since of no of the big four sort of
Yeah,
world titles. We obviously had Paddy McCrory, Dennis Hogan, and Andrew
yeah,
Geraghty on an ABO belts last year, but 4 years is a long time in a sport that Ireland's very, very good at. We're very, very good. You can see the amateur setup now, but 4 years is a long time without a world champion. And I truly believe once one happens, that conveyor belt's going to keep going.
Well, we have big names like we have like for example down the south you have Gary coming through, you have Pierce O'Leary, like these lads, Thomas McCarthy. You have names who could you just need people to get behind them and start to bring a crowd to start doing shows. Then you have up the north, you have Michael Collins who still grabs a massive crowd, who I think will win a world title. Podrick as well, McCauley. Anthony Catchy. I know Anthony's coming towards the back end. I'd love to see Anthony get a big opportunity because he deserves it as well. He's grinded for a long time. Tommy McCarthy, Tyrone McKenna. I always get mixed up with McKenna and McCullough. It's McKenna. I always get mixed up with the two of them. Big Tyrone. Like you have loads of people there. Sean McComb. You have loads of talent there. Like there is heaps of talent, and then there's more coming through. You have Tommy Hyde who's at the Turner Pro down in Cork. So I'm sure, like, I'd just like to see a few more small hall shows, and just to grab the crowd. Because I've always noticed with boxing is like, I bring 150 people with me, and when I leave and my fight's out of the way, they end up leaving. And then, just for example, Pierce O'Leary might be fine. His crowd, when he fights, they'll end up leaving. So it'd be nice to start seeing more crowds there, and just because the stadium does get filled up when they're on. The only thing is that people end up just drifting in and out. So I just think the bigger profile people are getting individually, more people are going to take interest in them. And I do believe the way social media is going, like a lot of athletes, especially a lot of boxers, are starting to build a good profile about themselves.
It's strange, because I've seen it myself. Obviously, the shows in the SSE and things like that. I'm sort of one of the first people in and the last ones to leave, and you see people that will pay two, three, £400 for a ticket, and they'll only watch two or three fights, and you're going, why? There's talent coming through. Like I can remember the stages, Gary Cully obviously fighting in Ryan Burnett's card in 2017, and people are going, well, who is it to look at? But if you're not prepared to spend the time to sit and watch them,
Of course.
what's the point of even going to the show if you just want to cling on to the people that's at the very top? Um,
Yeah.
but we couldn't be more blessed as a country. As I say, I've already touched there on the amateur setup. Does it nearly wish that you nearly wish you were 10 years younger, obviously in the sport now, or
Yeah, look, there's no point of wishing because I don't. What's the point of it? It's not going to happen. On
Mhm.
the age now, I like to know the knowledge of what I do now and the experience and that happen. But yeah, if I had my body 10 years younger, yeah, maybe so. But what I know now, I'm blessed with what I know now and how the business works as well as life works. You know what I mean?
when you obviously come to the stage where you do, look at hanging up the gloves? I guess sometimes it's as we've seen very recently, obviously with Kell Brick and things like that, people can go off the rails very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It, I guess when you're seeing things like this currently, when you're still boxing, is that making you start to plan for retirement? The fact that you might stay within the sport.
See, it's a hard thing to say, is because of, like, when you know something's gonna happen and you don't want it to happen, but you know that's gonna happen. Sometimes you can't, and like, this is gonna happen. How can I prevent me going through a dark time with this? Sometimes you can't prevent it, so it just happens. But will I keep? Like, coming to the end of the career? Yeah. Well, I'll always train. I believe that training, if it's boxing, any sort of sports, and even if it's just going to the gym, how much it plays a massive part of mental health. Like, I don't think people really understand. I've a cousin here who's had been staying for me last little bit, and he doesn't do nothing all day. I'm like, you need to go to the gym. He goes, I don't really like going to the gym. It's not about even like doing it. It's how it makes you feel. And like, people really need to realize you need some sort of exercise in your life. So we'll always have exercise in my life, and I'll always be active in that way. But will I will I stay in boxing? I don't really know. I probably would open an amateur club, and if I did that, it'd be more for me. I would like to be very much for my father, for him to do it, because I know he's always wanted me to open up one. So I probably would open one up, but I'm busy with every other little project I have at the moment.
I was going to sort of touch on that, at the fact that obviously, your father's been involved in the sport for quite a long time as well. So that's a sort of burden that he leaves behind. The reason I sort of suggested that is because we see sometimes where people can be really, really good amateurs and sort of that switch across into the pros, or they might decide at the end of amateur boxing that pro boxing isn't for me. You could sort of be a good sort of make way for people to sort of get them to understand, I guess, obviously the traits of switching from one to the other, and we're probably seeing more and more of it happening now. But someone with your experience, obviously, in boxing, it's a good person to have around the sport. They say you could be 5 years before you can retire from boxing. You don't know, but it's always good, I guess, to think of the future for the sport.
Yeah, well, like, as I was saying it, like, sometimes I say to myself, is like, who am I to be telling people what to do? Man. I can only I can only help someone if they want to be helped, but I'm not, like, it's like, what am I, like, gonna start trying to tell a kid to do certain things, But sometimes you have to remember what you've gone through, the level of experience you have, and try to pass it on. Like, I was only talking to a boxer a while ago, and said how much he's had to do, and he should pass his knowledge on. I haven't thought about that myself, but I was saying to him he should be doing it. So at some point, I will help kids out, but it'd be more helping kids just to get from the private area. It's more, and just hopefully they can help them to keep out of trouble. And if I can get that, that's the main goal. Then if I get boxers who become Irish champions and push on from there, it's an extra added on bonus. But I'm
Definitely.
not at that stage yet, so I'm not thinking that far yet. Like, I haven't, like, sometimes I'm just taking it at the moment. I'm just taking 8th of April as the last. I've not thought about anything else after that. I'm not worried about anything what's gonna happen after that. So and that's not just like, my head's just on that date. No, it's just, I don't really care what's after that at the moment.
I seen obviously your interview with Kieran obviously last week. Um, does it help you prepare for the fight, where you sort of give yourself that underdog mentality? Obviously, the fact that Dylan's a few weight classes generally above you, but probably what I would say in probably your terms is that experience. Obviously, you've had, obviously, you've fought a lot bigger and better opponents. Obviously, you've had your fights with John O'Carroll. You've had James Tennyson. You've had Marco McCullough. That experience obviously counts for so much. That does it help you
Yeah.
prepare sort of as an underdog, or
No, because, like, I don't really, like, it doesn't bother me if, like, everyone used to say I was favouring certain foods, and like, I don't care what people's opinion is, what I mean? I know what I bring to the table, and it's always what I've always said is, I know what I can do. I don't really care what they can do. I don't care if everyone has picking him or everyone's picking me. It's still not going to change my mentality. It's like, as long as I show up the best they can get, they'll believe I can beat anyone every day.
and then it's getting that. I guess it's getting that best day sometimes. But you've had you've had the activity, I guess, when obviously when Dylan hasn't over the last 15 months or so. So sometimes people like to prepare as the underdog. Obviously like to have that underdog mentality. How do you see the fight playing out on the 8th of April? Obviously, the best Declan Geraghty shows up. That's the winner. If you're
I believe a win. How it comes, I don't really care if it comes by stoppage, and I think people might be a bit surprised that stoppage could come on my behalf. Because with me being a smaller fella, I believe I don't be surprised if I do stop him. I do believe I beat him. I believe it's going to be a tough, hard fight. I don't think people give Dylan enough credit for his boxing ability. Dylan actually is a very good boxer. People always just think he's a good engine, good work rate. But he has a good boxing ability as well. I do believe at stages we're going to go into the trenches and have a tear up. I believe you're going to see boxing at stages. I believe you're going to see an all-rounded fight, and I expect on the 8th no one to be really disappointed, especially the fans.
It's shaping up to be an amazing night. Obviously, the promo in itself, if it doesn't sell someone and get their money out of their pocket, what's wrong with them? You and obviously Dylan headlining. There's a potential of Graham McCormick. Obviously, your stablemate under Ian Cochran, potentially fighting Craig McCarthy, Paul Ryan, Tommy Hyde, Kate Radomska.
I think it sells out. I think this play, like I know he brings a big crowd. I think I'm gonna bring about 150 down along with me minimum. He sells a big crowd up there. Then you have as the other people. I think I think it only just holds slightly over 2,000. I do expect the whole place to be sold out.
You're used to the big nights as well. Obviously, I would probably say my worst moment watching you was obviously your rematch with John O'Carroll. Probably at stages it was sort of going, the fight could probably been stopped sooner. But I guess when you have that domestic fight, you have to trust the instinct of obviously the fighter that 1 second can turn it all around.
Yeah, well, I was never actually hurt with the John fight. No headshots. It was just the body. Now, I was taking headshots like that, I would understand the referee. It was the body what he took away from me. At that stage, like, I just struggled with too much making weight. If you look at me from this, like, everyone used to think I was big. I am big, but if you look at me to the side, how thin I was, how thin-based I was because of it, making weight, you know what I mean? So that's what's nice to fill out now. I've been filling out for the last few years now, and it's enjoyable not have to cut the weight down. But yeah, that was a tough fight, and that was a better pill to swallow as well. But like, I enjoyed that occasion, you know what I mean? I enjoyed being on that stage, and I would do it all again, you know what I mean?
I guess is this, when the Irish title, and obviously the 8th of April, and then potentially look at getting the biggest card you can possibly get, so you can soak up that amazing atmosphere in a big card occasion at least one more time.
Not even thinking that far. I'm literally just thinking of the 8th, and if I win, I want to pack it in after it. If I lose, I pack it in after it. If I win and stay on for another fight and win that again or lose that, I'm not thinking any further than just the 8th, and I'm just deciding how my body and my career feels after that. You know what I mean? If I'm content winning Dylan, I'm content to winning the Irish title and pack it in. It is what it is. Or if I'm not content, I want to go and fight for the European title straight away after that. It could be another domestic fight. I don't really know, and I don't really thinking that far. I'm just focusing 8th of April, me versus Dylan Morning. I expected a serious crowd there. I expected to be really built walking in as the being down there. But like all that doesn't really phase me, and I'm just expecting just to enjoy being in this bubble for 7. Or like I'm really enjoying being in this bubble for 7 weeks. 7 more weeks. I'm actually like I don't want the bubble to burst. I want to stay in it. I want to just keep doing it. So for me to keep doing it, I have to win here and just keep pushing on.
What do you I guess when you sort of look at the domestic sort of scene and stuff like that over the last 12 to 18 months, we've had some amazing fights. Obviously Owen O'Neill and Owen Duffy obviously won the fight of the year last year with Jamie Morrissey and Kevin Cronin in a classic here in Belfast a couple of weeks ago. You and Dylan could have been another classic. It's the first Irish title fight in over 3 years as well. But I guess that sells in itself. Domestic fights are what people want to see. And hopefully you and Dylan obviously deliver in 7 weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll only know on the 8th.
Definitely will. Well, look, Diego, we'll leave it there. Obviously, I want to thank you for your time. It's great. Finally, I can say that I finally interviewed Declan Geraghty. But I'm sure we'll obviously catch up with you in Fight Week in Waterford. And I'm sure we'll get a good laugh and a joke then.
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And hopefully it's not the last time.
Definitely not. Well, listen, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy your last 6 or so weeks of camp left. And we'll see you on the 8th of April in Waterford.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, pal.
Cheers, Diego. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.